Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what time it is. It's time for your relationship advice. It's time to listen. It's time to get some advice about your situations as you're working at your house and at your wherever you want it to be. I can give advice to you. This is Super Savage, Super Real Savage Talk podcast. Come in at 7, sometimes at 8 o'clock. I will have the hottest interviews, have the hottest Q&As, have the hottest birthday celebrate, have the hottest parties, have a heart-to-heart when you're feeling lonely. I'm Super Savage, the podcast with a lot of heart, super real savage talk. Yeah, don't ever underestimate. What's up? This is your host, Super Savage, and we are on Super Real Savage Talks. How y'all doing today? Tonight I will be bringing you the rundown for tonight is that we will be running down usually something I don't talk about, but it's been written into me that they want to talk about it. Are you capable of murder? That's right, people. People don't bring it up all the time, but right now there's a lot of mass shootings going on and hardcore cold-blood murders are taking place. So according to Murder, are you capable of murder? And I have a story that'll knock your socks off, quote of the day, and much more when we return from Real Savage Talk. Underestimate me. I got a podcast addiction. Now please just turn around and listen. Super Savage, Super Real Savage Talk. It's 7 o'clock, sometimes even 8. I might be late. I teach about dating. If you afraid to heal by yourself, I will help you heal. If you also just want me to lend an ear, I will just listen. My job is to always pay attention, and I want to make sure that you have a good time with my podcast. Relax with my podcast show. It's like being at home. You never be alone. This is the Super Real Savage Talk. Listen closely. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. How you feel about COVID-19? Wearing all those masks. Okay. We are back, you guys. That jingle is from my own collection. And like I said, tonight we will be talking about murder and are you capable of murder? Now, according to FBI crime clock, one murder happens every 33.5 minutes. You can also say people are dropping like flies. And murder alone, how many murders happen in home invasions? It was broke down in an assault 38%, 60% was rape, and 4% was murder. Now, with that being said, anyone can be capable of killing someone. I knew this would be a broad topic, so I broke it down for you guys. Let's see. According to neuroscienceologist Robert Burton, there's no credibility way of predicting whether someone is capable of committing murder, and science has not really revealed any telltale signs that it's seemingly normal for a person path to violent criminal activity. Now, even after 30 years of attempting his study and track patterns, and psychiatrists and psychologists, the terrible predicting is violence. People who do terrible things seem to just be everyone. Until the day they crossed into the realization of criminal violence, and all of a sudden they're not like us at all. What do y'all think about about murder? What do y'all think about acts of violence, crime, period? Always hit me up at Super Savage, Miss Real Super Savage, at Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can look me up at jgiles18 Yahoo or at gmail.com. I mean, let's talk about this for a minute, though. You know, when it comes down to that, you know, I don't think I would ever be capable of murder. I mean, no one wants to do that. I mean, who would want to do that? So, I mean, when you think about all of the mass murders and mass shootings we've had over the years, there are quite a bit. And I just want to have one thing to say about that. Taking another person's life is not right. Of course, we all know that, but spiritually, how do you get to heaven doing that? You know what I'm saying? And how do you become like a serial killer? I mean, how do you just continue to just take lives, and then act like, how you gonna get to heaven? Not really too familiar with things like that, but according to Wikipedia, there's a list of serial killers in the United States. And what makes you a serial killer? Tony Abels, 1970 to 1990, 4 victims, 4 possible victims. So that's 8 people. John Arthur Acord, 1976 to 1992, killed 1 person plus 3 possible people. And it looks like Edward Adams, 1920 to 1921, was very busy with a total of 14 people, 7 possible, 7 proven. Rodney Alcord, 1971, 1979, 8. Possible victims are 50 out of 230. That is a lot of people. A lot of people. I mean, he's just going around just slanging bodies. Just slanging them. Let's see here. With Chris Albright, 1990 to 1991, 3 proven and 3 possible. Howard Allen, 1979 to 1987, 3 and 3 proven and 3 possible. Quincy Allen, 2002, his total was 8. And the list goes on and on. I mean, over time, I mean, that's Kenneth Barshow, 1977 to 1978, 12 and 12, along with the company the Hillside Stranglers murdered. I mean, they're really. I mean, I'm reading here way over 24 serial killers in our lifetime. How safe have we not been? And I mean, after a while, it starts to really fill out to me like, what's really going on in the community? Where are we falling short at? Where murder is just like any other normal 9-to-5 job. Where do we get some type of peace and resolution? I just don't understand. This also raises a question to me. If we're incapable of knowing what others are capable of doing, then how can we protect ourselves? Most of us, after all, have thought about not committing murder, but how many people have been committing of a murder? David Buss, a professional psychologist at the University of Texas in Austin, surveyed 5,000 people for his book, The Murderer Next Door, and why In Mind is designed to kill, and found that 91% of men and 84% of women have thought about killing someone, often with very specific, horrible, hypothetical victims and methods in mind. Wow. And terrifying events, there has been cold calculated killings, not just from adults, from children. What would make a child snap and kill? What would, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would make, I just don't understand the ethics behind it. I've been studying it in the area, and I feel that a lot of things are being, swayed below the wayside. The terrifying reality is that we're biologically predisposed to violence in a certain situation. Douglas Fields, neuroscientist and author of the book Why We Snap, says that our brains have evolved to monitor for danger and spark aggression in response in any received danger as a defense mechanism. So we all have capable of violence, Okay, so I'm capable of violence, you capable of violence. Let's just say this. You capable of violence. Okay, that means what? Raising your voice, maybe cussing, or using profanity, maybe rolling your eyes. I mean, you don't want to think of yourself as capable of violence. You don't need to be taught defense aggression because it's a life-surviving behavior that unfortunately sometimes is required. Now, it's so effective to deal with dangerous situations. The problem is that you can be overly sensitive. Excuse me. Of course, it goes wrong sometimes. Excuse me. Of course, it can go wrong sometimes. Things can get out of hand, just like a burglar alarm or a misfire. I don't believe that that's encouraging the environment. The modern world presses on in the defensive mechanism. Anyway, but if a gun misfires, why are you even got it in your hand? If you're not trying to, what do you call it? You're not trying to hunt. So what would be the response behind that? You're not trying to hunt anything down. So why would you have a gun? So it responds to other factors that play an issue into murder. Nobody just wakes up and say, we're just going to murder this other person. Or I don't wake up and say, I want to be murdered. So this is a very, very, very broad topic. Now, when we come back, I have a story that I want to let you guys in on. This is a true story. And when it was told to me, it was very, very, very not accidental. And the person is still free to today. So when we return Super Real Savage Talk, I will have it was to me called A Killer on the Loose, but I'm going to put Someone in My Home as a Killer. That's the name of it, and we will be right back. What about dating two guys or two women and everybody wearing disguises? Let's play a trivia. Who wants to Super Savage, Super Real Savage Talk, the podcast. There's so many things to do on my podcast. You can also email me, call me on my real cellular device. Super Real Savage Talk podcast. Give you everything you want. The listeners run my spot. Super Real Savage Talk. Super Real Savage Talk. Super Real Savage Talk. Podcast. Listen every Wednesday and Saturday. We are back. Thank you. And if you are just now tuning in, we are, talking about murder. And are you capable of murder? And what does murder spark from? And how do you deal with it when it happens? I just feel that altogether, people take it in someone else's lives. I just don't. No one, of course, will agree with it in public. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, well, I offer little JoJo or whatever. And nobody gonna just say that because that's a crime. But what if murder was not a crime anymore? How would the death rate toll go up then? Because I'm just saying, the death rate is horrendous. In many states like California, Illinois, the death rate is really something else. So if murder was just not, you won't get in trouble for murder. If that was legal, like the purge, Like, y'all would just go around killing people? Mm-mm. Or if murder was not, you just get a ticket for murdering someone, would you murder someone then? What would make murder okay for you to commit it? For you to say, hey, now this is something that I've been wanting to do. Or would you still be the same person that you are today? Would you still not take another person's life? Or would you take another person's life because it's legal now? So that's a question that I also want to ask. Hit me up. Please hit me up. jgiles18@gmail.com. And I want to know, if murder was legal, would you start murdering people? Or would you stay the same? I just don't know. I really just don't know. That's a good question. All right, let's get to my story. Someone in my home is a killer. This happened out of Grand Rapids in 2001. And Mrs. Bodes, I think, yeah, her name is Bodes. Broads or Bodes. Mrs. Bowes, there's only a Mrs. Bowes, and then there's her two sets of twins, and then it's Mr. Bowes. So the house has a house of 6 people, and within these 6 people, most definitely, they stay in Grand Rapids. This beautiful, beautiful place here in Grand Rapids, for the upscale neighbors, and of course they stayed there. Why is everybody that murders in a home rich? Like, y'all don't even have no problems. Y'all just being rich, just murdering your people all day long. What? I mean, I'm not gonna say y'all ain't got no problem, but I mean, dang. I mean, what stress do you have, really? Mrs. Bowes, she is always gone. She's a stewardess. She flies. She rides in the airplane, and she it's like customer service in the air, basically. And Mr. Bode is he's a real estate agent. He sell homes, so they got bread. Okay, still don't see a reason to kill yourself. Still don't really see a reason to murder anybody. Okay, they have 2 sets of twins, Darla and Diane, and Eric and Erica. So let's not get confused. Erica and Eric, and then Darla and Diane. And so Darla and Diane is 17, and Eric and Erica are 21. So these ain't no little bitty ass kids. These some real boy. So yeah. So light me a cigarette, y'all. Step out smoking. So they live in Grand Rapids, and they've been here their entire lives. So everybody, has a job. Like I said, not the kids. The kids ain't working. The kids are actually in school, all 4 of them. And so the kind of home they live in is gated, okay? But to make a long story short, it had been about 3 or 4 weeks since Mrs. Bode been home. And when she came home, her husband was murdered, and so was Eric and Erica. So a set of twins was murdered, and so was her husband. She found them murdered. And for about 2 weeks prior to that, she talked to them on the phone. So, it couldn't have been something that happened a while ago, because she keeps in contact with her family and stuff like that. So so the cause of death was not no gunshots, not no smothering. They had too much rat poison in their system. So that, you ain't going to no restaurant and they serve this. Somebody in the house didn't kill them, killed them. So the investigation picks off. Darla and Darlene, Diane and Darlene. Wait a minute, Darla and Diane. Okay, I had to say it like that in order to get it right. Darla and Diane. Actually, they were at school at the time of the murder. So, And they were accounted for. Like the 17, they're seniors. They were accounted for, and so the case ran cold for almost 10 years. Yes, 10 long years, a cold case over this, because what ended up happening was they end up testing out. They testing out the wife to see that she double back, come home or whatever. She passed the polygraph, and she had rat poison in her system too, but not that much of a amount that would kill you. Okay, as well as the twins, Diane and Darla and Diane. They they were at school and both accountable for them. So who could have, that's what made the case cold, because they didn't have no weapon, and they did not have any trace of rat poison in their home, and they did not have, and everybody had alibis. So that was really, really weird, really weird. Well, a new as time changes over time, 10 years have passed. Okay, by this time, Erica and Ed and Eric are still working. Still in school, but they are working now. They're on their own, and their mom is still working, being a stewardess. Okay, so 10 years later, there's a break in the case, and everyone get a phone call, and says to be at the station. They have news that there's a break in the case, and they're reopening the case. And so you would think, the family is overjoyed. They're happy. But some people are not so happy. When we return, more of Is Someone in My Home a Killer?